Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. Think about Him in all your ways, and He will guide you on the right paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Chapter 1. Bella's mind was a million miles away as she sat with her friends waiting on the pizza to come out. Her mind kept drifting to the guy she had seen last night at church. He'd been nice-looking, and his sense of humor kept everyone laughing as they sat in small group worship. When her best friend looked over and saw her dazed look, she poked her in the side. "Hey, where are you at? Did you hear me?" She laughed as she stared at her lifelong friend. Bella turned to look at Shelley, grinning. "Sorry, I drifted off for a minute. What did you ask?" she said as she took a long sip of her soda. Sighing heavily with a grin, I said, "Did you see the guy from last night's small group come in with some other guys?" This caused Bella to choke on the sip of soda as she looked across the crowded restaurant. Had she conjured him up? Giggling, she knew better, but it was weird that he appeared as she was deep in thought about him. She watched as he sat down a couple of tables over. Her breath caught in her throat when he looked up and their eyes locked. He smiled that dazzling, toe-curling smile as he stood up and started over toward their table. She held her breath as he walked up to her side and put his hand on her shoulder. "Hey, Bella, how are you?" he said in that deep voice that caused her heart to melt in her seat. "I'm well, and you?" She hoped her voice sounded normal, but from the giggling beside her, it was evidently a little higher than normal. "Oh, I'm great now." He looked up at the other ladies at the table. "Ladies, I hope you enjoy your pizza," he said politely as the waitress set the extra large pizza in the middle of the table. Then he looked back down at Bella. "Can I speak to you for a moment?" She almost squealed with excitement as she stood up and followed him toward a less crowded area of the restaurant. As she looked up at him expectantly, her heart skipped a beat. What could he want to talk to her about? He put his hand on the wall above her head, and she realized for the first time how tall he was. If anyone was watching them, they'd think from this stance that they were more than mere acquaintances. "Bella, would you like to go to dinner and a movie Friday night?" The look in his eyes made her heart do flips and somersaults. "That'd be great." She was only able to speak in small sentences when she was around him. Hopefully Friday she'd regain her normal chatty way. "Wonderful. I'll pick you up at 6. He gently stroked her cheek, which made her stomach flutter. "Be thinking about which movie you want to see, and chick flicks are fine with me." He grinned, and she just stared up at him like a doe in headlights. Finally, finding her voice, "Okay, I know a movie I've wanted to see." Reaching in her purse, she pulled out a notepad and pencil. "Here, let me give you my cell number and address." He held up his hand. "I've already got all your information," he said with a confidence that totally baffled her. "How'd you do that?" She'd wondered who had given him her personal information. "I have my ways," he said with a heart-shattering smile that left her not caring how he got her information. "I'll see you Friday." "Okay." She walked back over to her table and sat down. All 3 women were staring at her in anticipation. Shelley gave her a shove when she just sat there smiling. "Well, what gives?" "He asked me out Friday night," she said in a half-squeal, half-bubbling exhilaration. "That's really good. You need to get out." She smiled down at her friend. Shelley knew Bella needed this badly. The last relationship she'd been in had ended badly, and Bella had been holding back from dating anyone else. One of the girls spoke up. "He's friends with my brother. Chuck calls him a hero because he served in Iraq," she said, taking a piece of pizza. "Evidently, he was a highly decorated soldier." "I wonder how old he is." Bella took a bite of warm, gooey pizza, thinking about his possible age. She was only 21, but if he'd served in Iraq, he'd have to be a little older. "He's 30, the same age as Chuck," her friend said nonchalantly.